Hey everybody, how's it going? It is Star Wars Wastelands, the Star Wars Wastelands Broadcast, not the podcast, episode number 3 already. And it took all of, wait, is this 3 or 4? I think it's 3. Yeah, I think it's 3. And, oh, hang on. I muted Kieran by accident. There we go. I think it's 3.
It is 3.
I think it's 3. It took all of 3 episodes, actually 2 episodes, for Johnny to need a break. Joining us on this one, it's our old friend Ty. What's going on, man? Long time no see.
I was muted as well.
Blame me.
No worries. I'm good, man. I'm good. Glad to be here. We got a little late start for some technical difficulties, but we're here.
We're here, and we're talking Star Wars, and that's what's important. And we got Kieran the Hut, apparently. What's going on, man?
It changes every week. I don't know. Got a little bit of a headache, but I decided to push through, power through. We're gonna get through this.
You powered through it.
Yeah.
I intended to talk more Phantom Menace merch off the top, but I wanted some slides ready. And I had to work overtime because a couple of kids thought it would be fun to DDT each other on a moving bus. So, yeah, that went well. So I was a little late getting home. So we'll save the Phantom Menace merch talk. There won't even be, really different segments here. Johnny was supposed to have the picks this week, and he wasn't able to make it today. So, honestly, I want to dive in right off the bat to a little controversy. At least it could be controversial. I don't mind the idea. The idea has been floated out there that there could be another Star Wars sequel trilogy coming. To be clear, that does not mean it's meant to replace 7, 8, and 9, theoretically. But someone has put out there, anyways, a fairly reputable place too, that they could do 3 movies in between the original trilogy and 7, 8, and 9. And they went as far to suggest, and again, there's no merit to this. This was just a suggestion, that why don't they just retitle 7, 8, and 9, 10, 11, 12, and redo a different 7, 8, and 9 to close off the 30-year gap. Wouldn't be the first time they've renamed episodes because, newsflash, when the original trilogy came out and it was in theaters, it didn't say episode 4, 5, and 6. That wasn't until after the fact that it said that.
I'm not sure about that. I know that A New Hope, when it was first released, didn't have 4. But when Empire Strikes Back came out, I believe it had 5.
I thought that Empire and Return of the Jedi got their numbers in the, and I could be wrong on this, but I thought they got their numbers in the, I think it was like the 1992 box set or something. There was a box set that came out before the the famous special editions from the 90s.
The THX version? The black box?
Yeah, they had Yoda on it and the Stormtrooper.
The half faces?
Yeah, that's the box set.
That's the THX box set.
I'm pretty sure I saw it in theaters, and it said episode 5, and then Jedi said episode 6. In fact, I want to say that A New Hope was re-released in order to prep for Empire, and that's when it had the episode 4. I don't know, man. That's back in.
You are in fact right. Episode 4, as it's known today, did not have a number by it, but The Empire Strikes Back did have a number by it. So, as did Return of the Jedi. So, I think back then Lucas was planning 12 movies or some crazy shit like that. But personally, whether you throw in numbers or not, whether you change the current 7, 8, and 9 to 10, 11, 12 and redo a 7, 8, and 9, those movies count, and they're going to count, and people need to just deal with it. I'm okay with 3 movies in between. And if you don't want them to be Skywalker Saga movies, but to still include Skywalker Saga characters, it can focus on the Mandalorian. There's been a lot of talk lately about maybe with the Mandalorian success and how popular it is and how often it trends, the fact that obviously Grogu's a big part of that, if not the biggest part of that. Why not do have this they've been talking about this culmination event of all their TV series, well, not all of them, but the Mandoverse resulting in this Thrawn thing at the end, and everyone just assumed it would be like is it called the Defenders? Is that what Daredevil ended up turning into? They had like a one season thing.
The Marvel TV universe turned into the Defenders. It had Daredevil, Luke Cage,
Jessica Jones,
Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, and they all became the Defenders. That was the intention of it as well when they did that. I think when they brought in the Punisher, it was a side one that hit so well that they were like, okay, we're going to add that. But the initial 4, Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Daredevil, that was the intention. It was supposed to lead up, just like the Marvel Cinematic Universe was all leading up to the Avengers.
I just think instead of doing like a standalone season of whatever you want to call it, their new take on Heir to the Empire, it seems like it's what they're doing. Do a trilogy, do movies, and at least there's some talk out there about that. So, and I still think that even though, you have, the first few seasons of Mando and the Book of Boba Fett and soon to be Ahsoka as well on top of that, followed by another season of Mando, I still think audiences would go see these characters on a big screen and pay to do it. And I think you can do it in a way that if people haven't been paying attention to what's been happening in the TV series, you can catch people up to speed fairly quickly in a movie. Might not be your typical Star Wars movie the way it's put together, but I'm dying to see Star Wars in the cinema. What do you guys think? Would you be okay with another trilogy in between the original trilogy and the sequels, regardless of what it is?
I'm not interested in that very much, to be honest. I don't see that happening either. I mean, I'm not in the know or anything like that, but I feel like that would be Disney stepping back and saying, "Oh, we made a mistake," and I feel like Disney doesn't do that. I feel like Disney reordering the old movies, and even if they did,
I'm saying even if they didn't reorder them and these 3 new movies just didn't have numbers.
even if they did, I think they had planned on not. I think they planned on this being the end of those legacy characters for the most point, except for in books and things like that. And yeah, I just don't see that. I don't see Disney going back on that because it's a very pompous company. But beyond that, I'm not interested in that anymore because I would like all the best things in Star Wars for me lately have been things where they expanded and did new things. I love the High Republic. I loved Knights of the Old Republic. I like when they do that. I like the Old Republic. I like hearing about these new characters and finding out new things. I really don't want to see any more of, even Chewbacca and these characters and stuff like that. They might want to bring these characters back for things, and I can see that, but
I
it
guarantee
doesn't interest me.
Trying to do both. Like they're gonna do what you want. Like they've been,
but
they've had every.
But they're also gonna, they're definitely still gonna do solo movies or something. They're gonna try and get some of those characters back in because those are money makers. But I don't see a trilogy. I can't. That doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, I could see a trilogy if it's the culmination of events from the TV stuff, because the TV stuff, it's already going to be full season.
Isn't that hard to do though? Couldn't be wrong. Isn't it hard to make a movie after a series because a movie takes so long to make?
It depends how they choose to make it, right?
You have to lead in. Like I feel like they would have to make a full force, full production, big budget movie. And I know that one of the hardest things that that have happened in the past with movies like that is it takes too long to get that movie out after the iron is hot. so to speak. So
Yeah, no, I also think there's a fear on their part to do stuff out of the known, like away from the known characters. Not in terms of
So
novels or games or anything like that. They've explored that, to death. I'm
Oh, yeah.
talking TV or movies. We haven't seen it yet. We know it's coming, unless there's some massive change of events.
They got to go somewhere.
Like, I'm okay with both, but don't set everything in one area.
So one of the things that I had heard, and this was a while back ago, I think when the prequels were coming out. So the rumor of them going to 9 movies, one of the things that I had heard down the grapevine is that Lucas's original vision for the 7, 8, and 9, and now that we've heard news things that it's like, no, it was always supposed to go, to where Luke was older and everything like that. But what I had heard is that, so you have 4, 5, and 6 here, right? Or I'm sorry, yeah. So 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, and 3 was this, and then 7, 8, 9 was supposed to Y off the other direction. So at the same time that 4, 5, and 6 was happening, 7, 8, and 9 was supposed to be happening, just following a different character that we saw from 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, you're talking original intention?
Yeah, the initial intention, which I could see a possibility of doing that. I mean, like with what you're talking about right now, it's like, oh, now we're going to take place after Jedi and before Force Awakens. But and I think the reason why they said that 7, 8, 9 initially was supposed to have that turn is that initially Padme was supposed to survive. And it was supposed to be following her off on that direction. I'd be okay with them sourcing a sequel trilogy anytime after Jedi, of course, going to wherever we're at. Yeah, for me, it doesn't matter as long as the story's good, and that's the whole thing is that if they're going to do it, I mean, they need to have like a Feige person behind and going like, okay, this is what we're doing. This is what, this is the culmination, not a fly by the seat of the pants. And I don't, anyway, yeah,
we talked about that before a bunch of times. That's a must is having someone who's going to oversee all 3 movies whenever they do a trilogy.
I don't even care if it's Kathleen Kennedy. I'm not one of those people that are like, yeah, get her
Anyone.
out of here. I do think she's got some strikes against her, and they're earned. And if any other studio head were in her position, they'd be strikes as well. But like, just decide a direction and make sure everything flows. Because, like, for me, I remember after I seen The Last Jedi, not just the first time, but after I seen it like a few times, I was just like, I can't stand this film. And I thought there was no way that anything that they could do next for me would be worse. I didn't think that was possible.
Somehow they did.
And then they did. Like, Kieran loves The Last Jedi. It's not that I can't stand it. It's a story, like it's a story of 2 tales for me. It's half the movie has really fucking amazing shit, and possibly, if not probably, the best cinematography ever in Star Wars. But then there's the other half that just pisses me off, and it's cringeworthy and terrible dialogue, and it just drives me nuts. And then the Rise of Skywalker comes out, and it's like, you know what? Give me more of the fucking Last Jedi, because at least, it had direction to some extent. I might not have liked that direction, but at least it was going somewhere. And then it was, I don't know what the hell they were thinking. It's well known how bad things got behind the scenes. J.J. Abrams and is it Chris Terrio, I think it was, that wrote it. They literally were kind of like, I don't know if it was you that said it or Kieran that said it, riding by the seat of their pants. They were winging it. And I know they got hired late because Trevorrow was let go. And then Trevorrow's script ended up getting leaked. And honestly, the Trevorrow script is a way more faithful sequel to The Last Jedi than what we actually got was. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, commit to a direction. If you're committing to High Republic material, if the first couple episodes of the first show isn't received well, don't then be like, oh, nope, we need to go back the other way. Spend some time on actually improving the direction you're heading. And it just seems like they've gotten off that path so many different times.
Yeah. So this might nip everything in the bud. It's like for me, I grew up with the original 3, right? And so was 1, 2, and 3 my bag? No. Was 7, 8, and 9 my bag? No. Am I still a Star Wars fan? Yeah. Why? Because it relates to my childhood and I like it. And I'll still. Now, do I think that like when it comes down to the culmination and somebody says, you know what's a great story? I'd be like, well, 4, 5, and 6. But the other ones, they just don't. They don't have that connection. That the original trilogy, and it's not because I'm a like a naysayer or anything like that, but when you go to story itself, 4, 5, and 6 for me is like, okay, this works. Yeah, the other 2 trilogies, it doesn't hold, and I don't think it will over time.
I do agree, like to an extent with that too. I mean, films, all the way up until early mid 2000s made a lot more sense to me in total. Like I feel like studio meddling and all sorts of crazy stuff, and just trying to follow the money and things like that that they do these days just cuts out a lot of the art in making a film trilogy, making a film series. And so I mean, I think I'm definitely an original trilogy person. It's my favorite. But yeah, same thing. I like all the movies. I enjoy watching them, even when I think Rise of Skywalker is terrible. But I enjoyed watching with my son like a month ago. So whatever, it was still Star Wars. I still enjoyed parts of it and things in it, and characters. But yeah, if I approach it as a film critic, yeah, it was pretty terribly made. It doesn't seem to be going anywhere. There's lots of parts where I just want to fast forward. What can you do?
I think there's an opportunity if they want to like really do more material around Revenge of the Sith. Like we see it with the Bad Batch. I'm releasing a video tomorrow that talks about how when you read the novelization of Revenge of the Sith, like everyone just assumes Obi-Wan was, he's the perfect, upstanding Jedi and always did what the council wanted. And, I've heard people complaining that he he is suffering from PTSD in the show that's coming out. And people have been like, I don't want my Obi-Wan to be that way. And it's like, it just drives me nuts because it's like, if you only really knew what the character went through, like take some time and analyze everything he lost. And in the book, it does a really good job of pointing out how he knew. Like the movie kind of leaves it somewhat ambiguous if he knew about Anakin and Padme. The book makes no bones about it. He knew, and he flat out tells Padme, and this is much earlier in the movie, would have happened earlier in the movie. He basically tells Padme, and Padme says she refuses to talk about it. And he basically tells her that he keeps his mouth shut about it because it makes Anakin happy. And obviously has the Satine thing to fall back on. There's just so much about Revenge of the Sith, and more specifically Order 66.
So what you're saying is Kenobi ruined the whole Jedi Order. He's just fucking terrible.
No, that'd be Mace Windu.
You were talking about the Clone Wars stuff. I saw a little news thing that Bryce Dallas Howard released saying that if you're a Clone Wars fan, you are going to like or love Ahsoka.
I didn't figure that one out because I don't know if she meant to say rebels, because there's a lot of stuff out there about rebels that is in Ahsoka, and I'm killing myself trying to figure out Clone Wars stuff, unless Hayden is not appearing as a Force ghost, and maybe Hayden and Ewan are both back for Ahsoka to go back and do Clone Wars flashbacks.
I don't know. All I know is I saw the quote. For me, it gave me the impression it would be about bringing certain clones back. So the Rexes, the Codys, or something like that. That the ones especially that associated with Ahsoka, that you would see them come into this series. So that's.
Do you remember when the series was first announced? Dave Filoni released a drawing he did, and it showed Ahsoka and Rex riding on a couple of dewbacks. So I wouldn't be surprised if Tem Morrison is Rex in that series and is really there to help out. What's the actress's name that played Rosario Dawson?
Rosario Dawson, yeah.
I'm stoked for that series. I know Kieran's not a big Hayden fan, but away from the Hayden stuff, just the character of Anakin Skywalker, I think there's more to do with, not necessarily Darth Vader, even though he's going to have more to do. But it just feels like there's a chapter of Anakin's post life, knowing he becomes a ghost, that's just like completely unknown. Even though he was a victim and he was seduced and was just trying to look out for his family and fell into deeper holes. The guy killed billions of people. I'm not sure many people would want to have him around, even as a Force ghost. Like I can't imagine that him and Luke had many conversations after his death.
I mean, not in this canon. They did in the original book canon, right?
They have that book coming out. I can't remember if it's called Shadows of the Sith or something like that. They previewed it, and it has Anakin as a ghost showing up to save Luke on Exegol.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I don't remember any of the Legends books where Anakin came back as a Force ghost.
Talked to Leia once, Tatooine Ghost. The whole book's basically about his background.
Okay.
That was done by Troy Denning.
Was Tatooine Ghost a book, or was it an ebook?
No, it was a book. It's a fairly cool novel. They run into Han, Leia, Chewie, and the droids end up at this auction on Tatooine, and Leia ends up figuring out the Hollow is Anakin. And she basically just gets mesmerized not mesmerized, but just like conflicted about seeing, Darth Vader, biological father. And there he is as a sweet, innocent little boy on Qui-Gon's shoulders, and the story just sort of takes off from there. It's a really cool one-off story.
Okay.
It's worth the read.
That's not canon now, though, obviously.
No, that's all Legends.
Several canons ago.
Sorry, we got some stuff in the chat.
Let me poke in there.
There's not much because we were late getting going here. Ken says Trevor's episode 9 would have been neat. Kenny says the original trilogy and most of episode 3 are my favorite of the original 6 George Lucas films. Released the 4-hour cut of Revenge of the Sith. I did read that someone put together a super cut of Revenge of the Sith, blending in with the final 4 episodes of the Clone Wars, which takes place during Revenge of the Sith. And I know obviously it'd be a little jarring going from live action to animation, but I would really like to see that cut and how it lines up and if it was well put together.
I believe I have it. It's a guy who out of Florida. I think it's called The Dark Times, and it's still available. He's doing a supercut now of the hero's journey, which I believe incorporates 4, 5, and 6, along with parts of Rebels and Rogue One. And he did a good job. I mean, it is jarring, but it's interesting to go back and forth on it and everything. I watched The Dark Times. I basically skimmed through and just like, oh, okay, all right, I see what you're doing here. I see a movie once and I'm good, and so for me to have seen Star Wars as many times as I have, that if it comes up again, unless I'm actually like sitting down with somebody who hasn't seen it before, I'll skim or I'll be like, okay, I'm good.
All right, let's shift gears here for a second, guys. I wanted to talk briefly because we don't have much time left. Wanted to talk about what it's like to be Darth Vader a bit. And I think the Kenobi series is going to show us a good bit that it's not a cakewalk to be Darth Vader. I think if you look at it in the context of, for a long time, the only Star Wars media we had outside some terrible cartoons and holiday specials was the original trilogy. It's to me, I know you hear Vader's more machine than man, but it's still hard to use your, at least for me, imagination of just how bad the man Anakin Skywalker was, like in bad a shape he was. And then we see Rogue One, or during Rogue One, just how bad he is. And I mean, we see that at the end of Revenge of the Sith. And it sounds like whenever he doesn't have to be in the suit, he's in the back to tank. Like there's nowhere else he can be. He has to be either in the suit or in the back to tank. And that's a pretty shitty existence, if you ask me. You guys ever put any thought into just how terrible his life must be, medically speaking? I mean, from a storytelling perspective too, he paid for his crime, I guess, in a way.
I definitely didn't think about it before the prequels, and then even I go through Revenge of the Sith, see him in there, and I think it literally, maybe as we got into the Clone War cartoons and saw his character development there, and I think some comic books have, and I haven't checked them out, but I've seen like little stills or something like that, or you see in your social media that it plugs certain things, and I'm just like, yeah, you know what? I never really thought about that. And so, yeah, I can see definitely. I can see going into Obi-Wan that they'll hit on that about how miserable his life is, how miserable his existence is inside the suit and everything.
It sounds like it's not a lot of fun. I know you're kind of spoiler sensitive, Ty, so I won't share this, but there is a photo that's been out there for quite a while of what he looks like out of the suit, and it's pretty gnarly even 10 years later. So it's kind of fucked up. What about you, Kieran? I know you're not a big Hayden fan, but in terms of like Darth Vader, the character, Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah. No, I'm sure it's not going to be acted well, but we'll see what happens.
No, I can't do it, dude. He's a good actor. He really is. I know. Like when he has a good Shattered Glass.
I gave him that example too, and he would not.
I know. I saw it. I watched it right after Sean showed me, and it's not good.
He is. He literally is a good actor. You need to have a good director with him, though.
Well, that's not what other people hiring said.
Oh, other people hiring?
Like the people who hire actors for movies, they stopped doing that for him.
Oh, that's why. Okay, I'll disagree with you.
Yeah, we could. We could
Yeah,
have that.
there's no
argument
reason
for
to go on a
another
tangent.
hour,
Yeah,
but
it's like, are you religious? Are you not religious? Well, you're just
Opposites
gonna
attract.
battle there. Yeah, it's
I
yeah.
am curious to see what he can do in, I guess very heavily limited, what he is doing in this.
If he's given lines in the right context, if he's given a straightforward character with a straightforward direction and given good direction and given good filmmaking, it'll be good. It'll be okay. But if they give him any Shakespeare lines, he's gonna fucking drop them so badly. So, anyways, but yeah, we could argue that for a whole hour.
I'm just not sure there's much for him to. Again, I don't know the whole series, but a lot has leaked from the show. And again, I don't want to get into spoilers because Ty doesn't want any.
I don't want any.
He's in it a fair bit, and there are opportunities for him to act, but I don't know. Until I actually see it, it's hard. And he's not the only person playing Darth Vader either. So
the best line that he delivers in the whole thing is when he says, "I hate you," and he's so angry and so pissed off, and he, with everything in his soul, wants to kill Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's probably the best line delivery I think that he has in the entire trilogy and probably his career. But I'm not going to stop. So if they can, if they can get him to be that character who's so hateful and spiteful and is driven by the dark side of the Force, and I'm sure he'll be fine. I didn't think of Darth Vader as a tortured character in 4, 5, and 6 either, because I was a kid and I just thought he was the ultimate bad guy, and sure enough, he is one of the ultimate film bad guys of all time, number one on many, many lists. But yeah, when I saw him as Anakin Skywalker and got the story of obviously what happened to his mother and his family and how he grew up, and everything that had happened to him, and falling in love, and then being confused about what he was allowed to do or what was right, or seems like he was pushed in a lot of directions.
Oh, he was pushed. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I know there's some, is the novelizations canon or not? And I mean, Lucasfilm can't even seem to give you a straight answer on that. But make no mistake, like when he says, from my point of view, the Jedi are evil, the Jedi fucked up. Like they did that guy dirty bad. Like getting him to commit treason and the constant borderline unfair treatment he got just because of what was attached to him. And like Obi-Wan flat out tells the council in the novel, like, hey, you don't do this. Like, you guys are gonna just completely break this guy. And and they do. I mean, they do.
Everything in the beginning, that was meant to happen with him and his career was messed up in many ways. Obviously, originally his teacher was going to be Qui-Gon, and then everything from there on was kind of a lot of missteps in there. And he obviously even in Clone Wars was shown to be very emotional at times, and that should have been a very lots of red flags.
The movie never makes mention of this, but from the time Anakin has that vision of Padme dying in childbirth, which is believed to be some Palpatine voodoo, he doesn't sleep. The novel says he does not sleep. He will not go back to sleep because he's just petrified of the next thing he's going to see. He's up for basically a week straight using the Force to sort of help keep him on his feet. And like, you never get any of that in the movie, but it's like, I don't know if you guys have been through it. I know I have. I've gone, 2.5 days without sleep, and by the end of it, it's just like you're done. You're redlining. You're out.
Well,
you're irritable, and on top of already being a hothead.
If you ever get to a week, remind me to kill you, so that you don't kill thousands of people.
Billions.
Millions.
Yeah, no, I mean, but yeah, like I think it's great for the character, and it's something for them to dig into how tortured he is, and how controlled he's being. You know, he's obviously being controlled by the Emperor like a little puppet quite often. The only thing I can say for him being a tortured character in the original trilogy is the body language. Obviously he's wearing a mask, so you don't see his face, but when Luke is being tortured, is done so well. Obviously the score is really good and getting the emotion as well, but the way that he looks back and forth and things like that is done super well. That's the only part in the original trilogy that I feel like you get more than just I'm an evil, like, terrible character behind him. So
just before that too, when he actually is checking out Luke's lightsaber down on Endor, there's that hesitation and stuff. That there is a lot like, oh, okay, there's a little more depth, because prior to that, it's like, wait a minute, you're supposed to save this guy, and so the way that story is told and how they do it, yes.
And when he says it's too late for me, son, down there, yeah.
That's definitely a little bit of Anakin Skywalker creeping through there. The novel does a good job of Anakin addressing like the Vader within him as like this dragon inside him that started off as this like worm that's fear that just slowly ate away at him, and it constantly grew into something else. I do like that moment in Return of the Jedi, though, where this is like my own headcanon, because the prequels obviously didn't exist then, but he's looking down at the lightsaber, and I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the first lightsaber that Luke constructs, because he builds it off of Obi-Wan's notes, is it, like, just structurally speaking, looks almost identical to Obi-Wan's lightsaber. Obviously, one's green, one's blue. And I know people have said, well, maybe the green crystal he got from it is Qui-Gon's, because we know Obi-Wan took Qui-Gon's crystal after he passed. Like, that's a cool little headcanon to put out there. They haven't said it's not it, so I'm going to go with that.
Okay.
That'd be cool.
Any final Star Wars thoughts before we get out of here, guys? Anything you guys want to bring up? We got 5 or 6 minutes here.
I'll just mention again, just to rain on Kennan's parade there, that I did catch an article about Hayden going back through and watching all the Clone Wars and Rebels and just doing some research so that he prepped up. So even if he falls flat, the fact that he's doing his homework, and he's trying to make sure that he's bringing what he can to it, I give him kudos. I give him props.
For his sake,
I'm sure he's a nice guy.
I didn't say that. I said he was doing his homework.
I'm sure that I'm sure he's trying to make the most of this as well. And I'm
hoping for the best.
I'm argumentative when it comes to Hayden Christensen, because it's a popular thing to argue with online. I argue it all the time. It's one of those things I get caught up in. I'm sure that there's a chance that he'll do good, and
you heard it here first.
Great. If he does do a good job, that'll be great, because I like Star Wars and I'll be happy about it. And I still watch those movies with him in it, despite the fact that he acts like a robot. But
so does Natalie Portman. Yeah,
I was gonna say there's some of Natalie. I think Natalie's much better in Revenge of the Sith than Attack of the Clones.
Definitely, but she went on to have a great career after that.
She did, yes. Her career
and had a career before it.
Yep.
Right. Well, I'm just saying. So, hear me out here. Is that you had that caliber: Liam Neeson, Ewan McGregor, Samuel L. Jackson, Ian McDermott. You had all these like known qualities, and still the performances we got. It was. I will definitely say it was not the actor's fault that we got flat performances in those movies.
I will say this: it's.
I mean, Ewan McGregor's performance is good, and Liam
Is
Neeson
the
is good.
one holdout throughout the
Yeah.
3 movies. Ewan
I mean,
McGregor.
Ian McDermott is always overacting. He's always. I wouldn't put Ian McDermott in a lot of my movies either.
I just seen him in The Lost City of Z, and all I thought to myself was, "Oh my God, it's Palpatine!" And he even said like a Palpatine line in it too, like word for word. I'm like, oh my God.
But yeah, I don't know. I've heard the argument that like, well, it's all the directing, but I had to go back and watch movies with him in it too, and Sean suggested Shattered Glass. Didn't think he was good in that.
Life as a House.
Life as a House.
I haven't seen
I've seen what are the 2 ones he did after? Not
Jumper.
Looper, but Jumper.
Jumper
Was terrible.
Jumper was like a Michael Bay flick. You can't again, and I'm not sure if Michael Bay was behind that or anything like that. But you go to see that, you're not expecting good acting. You're expecting effects and action. It's
you could put another actor in there, and you'd see the difference.
Maybe. We'll see. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this show. We got to get to Phantom Empire Live. Apologies for the late start. Technical difficulties. There's not a whole lot we can do when StreamYard acts up. When StreamYard acts up, we're at its mercy. That's going to do it for us, though. Big thanks to Tommy B. Thanks to Ty. Thanks to Kieran. We'll see you guys next week. Be on the lookout for Kenobi video tomorrow. And then what's tomorrow? Wednesday? And then Friday, I think there's a Knights of the Old Republic remake video coming out. So be on the lookout for that. We'll see you next time, everybody. And may the Force be with you.